Hello everybody, I hope you're all well. What a shock, I disappeared for a month again. To be fair, I usually upload around one video a month anyway, so this probably doesn't come as a shock to any of you guys. I don't really talk about my personal life on social media very much. Mentally, I'm just not doing too great at the moment. I've spoken about it a bit on my podcast, which only has 2 episodes. I have OCD and imposter syndrome along with that, so it just makes working quite difficult. And I have actually already filmed this video once and I had the wrong lighting settings on, so the entire time it was flickering, and that sent me into a 4-day depression. So that was fun, but it's fine because I'm just gonna refilm it, you know, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, I am gonna try and be back with more regular videos. I've got like videos planned up until July. I'm just, you know, not doing 100%. That's okay. Everyone goes through their ups and downs, babes. But in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the that girl trend, which has been really popular on YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, Instagram, and I am about 6 months late to this. It did really peak in popularity around 6 months ago. Better late than never. And also, it's very interesting to look back on a trend when the popularity begins to dwindle a little bit. Don't get me wrong, it's still very, very popular, but it's definitely not in its peak like it was. And also, people are starting to be a lot more critical of it, which obviously I always find very interesting. So today I'm going to be discussing who is that girl, what does it mean to be that girl, the aesthetic, the lifestyle, the problematic aspects of being that girl, why that girl became so popular 6 months ago, because there are reasons for it. And not only that, but I really wanted to immerse myself in this experience, so I decided to try and become that girl myself. I created my very own that girl morning routine and tried to follow it and tried to become that girl. I'm in my investigative journalist era, because before I researched into this trend, I really did think that girl was just an aesthetic, but above everything, it is a lifestyle. So what better way to make a video about that girl than to try and become that girl myself? Firstly, some of you guys may be wondering, who the hell is that girl? Jordan, what the hell are you talking about? So in today's video, I get to go back to my favorite website ever, Urban Dictionary. At one point in my YouTube career, last summer to be specific, my entire YouTube repertoire was just reading Urban Dictionary definitions. On Urban Dictionary, that girl is defined as, known mostly on TikTok, that girl is a girl or any gender that gets up at 5 AM, meditates, drinks smoothies, has showers every day, journals, eats only healthy food, goes to the gym every day, and is successful in many ways. This stereotype is typically on TikTok and films morning or night routines, most likely rich too. It is also worth noting that many girls and women who follow that girl routines are doing it to try and manifest their own success. The term manifesting your own success I saw being used so often in that girl content, and to a lot of people who haven't really researched into this trend, including myself, upon first glance it does just seem like another Pinterest aesthetic, like VSCO girls, Y2K, e-girls, off-duty model. And I know that Y2K isn't just a Pinterest aesthetic before everyone gets in my grill, but unlike all of these aesthetics and trends, that girl is a lifestyle above anything else. The lifestyle aesthetic of being that girl to most people is far more important than the aesthetic aspects. If you just look like that girl but you aren't actually being that girl, then that can come across as quite shallow. So what does living a that girl lifestyle even mean? Now, I did a lot of research for this video. I watched that girl morning routines, night routines, how-to guides, the list goes on. I took one for the team. So I've compiled a list of different that girl habits, small changes which you can make in your lifestyle and daily routines so you can try and be that girl. Waking up at 6 AM, exercising/doing yoga, making your bed, refreshing morning showers, having a 10-step skincare routine, drinking lemon water, drinking green juice, drinking homemade iced coffee, cooking all of your meals yourself and not ordering takeaway or delivery. And also all of these meals being very healthy. The meals I see the most often in That Girl content is avocado on toast, acai bowls, salads, rice bowls, basically dishes which contain a lot of raw fruits and vegetables, cleaning/tidying your living space, having a gratitude journal or a wellness journal, and lastly, planning your day / making a to-do list every morning. So as you guys can probably tell, being that girl is not just visual. There's a lot of emphasis on the lifestyle. And as I said earlier, I watched so much That Girl content over the past month, and I did notice a pattern in the videos, something which a lot of That Girl content creators, I guess, emphasize in their videos is that being that girl is all about being the best version of yourself which you can be.
But some people have been bashing this trend since the beginning, calling it toxic for women because it sets unrealistic expectations. But the way I see it, it's about focusing on yourself, making positive changes, and overall becoming a better version of you.
It's about changing your habits in your daily life. It's about being productive. It's about being healthy, both mentally and physically. It's about planning your day so you can have a healthy work and life balance. And if you've made positive changes in your lifestyle to try and become that girl, success will just come alongside it. You're manifesting your own success, remember? And that's why everyone wants to become that girl, because that girl is successful. And one thing I've seen a lot of creators emphasize who make That Girl content is that being that girl is not the same for everyone, and you can adapt your That Girl routine however you wish.
You guys need to understand that becoming that girl, or becoming just a better version of yourself, or a healthier version of yourself, it's so important, guys, to balance your lifestyle. It's all about balance. You will not see progress if you don't balance, and that's coming from my own experience. So make sure to treat yourself when you want to treat yourself. Don't restrict any foods, nothing like that.
Because it's a lifestyle change, it's not one size fits all. And something which a lot of people who are trying to be that girl or are that girl do is they document it, whether it's on Instagram, I was about to say Snapchat, Pinterest, TikTok, YouTube. And of course, all of the content is very aesthetically pleasing, which I think is what makes it so appealing to a lot of people. From what I could tell, a majority of women who are making That Girl content are successful and / or middle class. A lot of them are also self-employed or entrepreneurs, and a lot of people's end goal is to work for themselves. It almost seems like that girl is the Gen Z girl boss. As I said earlier, I did try to become that girl myself and make my own That Girl morning routine, but before we get into that, I firstly want to talk about why That Girl rose in popularity so much. Because if you search up That Girl on TikTok or YouTube, any video relating to it can garner millions of views. Garner, is that the right word? So I want to talk about why. Firstly, let's talk about the pandemic. In March of 2020, a majority of countries went into lockdown to try and prevent the spread of coronavirus. People were either working or studying from home or not working at all. Over here in the UK, you could only leave your house for an hour a day of exercise. So all of a sudden, everyone's worlds got a lot smaller. Rather than just spending your downtime at home, like sleeping, showering, cooking, relaxing, you are now spending nearly every minute of every day between your four walls. And because everything was being done at home, people wanted to start investing time and money into their living space. Everyone wants their living space to look nice and be a representation of themselves. If you like the living space you're in, it's just a given that you're going to be more productive. And this was especially important because everyone was working or studying from home. You guys get what I mean. Your living space suddenly became a much higher priority than it's ever been before. And because of this, we saw a rise in fast homeware brands like Zara Home and H&M Home. But we also, very weirdly enough, saw a rise in fast homeware trends. Some of you guys might not know what I'm talking about, but let me jog your memory. Again, I don't think any of these are bad. Actually, that's a lie. I think one of these things is bad, and it will be very clear which one I think is bad. Cow print walls, those Amazon fake leaves, the strip of LED light lights which you could stick to your ceiling, and those god-awful, hideous, expanding foam mirrors.
Peel off the tape, which I absolutely love. I think this is so satisfying and relaxing. And here is the final result. I'm obsessed. Let me know what you guys think.
If any of you guys, which I'm sure you will because there's 300,000 of you, if any of you guys have an expanding foam mirror, I do apologize in advance, but they are literally the ugliest things in the world. I'm so passionate about this because I truly do think they're hideous. I want to know in a year's time how many of those expanding foam mirrors are stuck in charity shops just gathering dust. And some of you guys might be wondering, Jordan, what has this got to do with That Girl? Such a big part of the That Girl lifestyle is your living space and it being aesthetically pleasing and tidying up after yourself and cooking aesthetically pleasing, delicious raw meals from home. And also during lockdown, people wanted to start taking better care of themselves. Suddenly people had a lot more spare time on their hands, whether they wanted to start exercising a bit. I saw a lot of people starting to do those Chloe Ting workout plans, or whether it was mentally. I think at some point everyone's mental health was negatively impacted by lockdown, and having a structured routine like a That Girl routine, for example, where you wake up early, exercise, you journal, you plan your day, the list goes on, is not only very beneficial for a lot of people's mental health, but also it increases a lot of people's productivity too, and allowed people to use their time as wisely as they could. I think a lot of people realized during lockdown was that life is very short, and a lot of people wanted to try and be the best versions of themselves that they could be. And not only that, but a lot of people's employment situations suddenly became a lot more unstable. A lot of people were being made redundant or let go. Some people were even being fired. And people who were on 0-hour contracts or worked in the service industry or retail weren't getting any work at all. It was a really difficult time for a lot of people. And I think people realized how disposable they were to the companies that they worked for. And people either wanted to start their own business so they could work for themselves, or people just wanted to start a small business to bring in a little bit of extra cash. And some of you guys may be wondering again, what has this got to do with That Girl? But from the content which I watched, a lot of people who are making really popular That Girl videos seem to be self-employed, and usually they're either YouTubers or influencers. And I think following a That Girl routine would actually be a lot more difficult if you weren't self-employed and didn't have a really flexible schedule. In a typical That Girl morning routine, you wake up at 6 a.m, you shower, you exercise, you make a nutritious and very aesthetically pleasing breakfast. And for most people who are not self-employed or don't work from home, so they have to get up at 6 a.m. just to get into work on time. A That Girl routine isn't super viable for people who don't have a flexible schedule. But I don't think this desire to make a steady income for yourself and to not want to work for other people is necessarily only driven by the pandemic. I think it's sort of driven by capitalism in general. Oh my god, guys, she's talking about capitalism. In my opinion, capitalism seems to preach that working for yourself is one of the highest forms of success. Self-employment and being an entrepreneur really has been put on this pedestal like no other form of employment. And don't get me wrong, as someone who is currently self-employed and has worked for other people before, there are a lot of perks to being self-employed. You get to wake up whatever time you want. You get to take off whatever days you want. You can make really good money. There's no cap to your earnings. Sounds like I'm trying to promote an MLM. But a lot of people do not talk about the downsides of self-employment. It's very unstable. A lot of people, including myself, have nothing to fall back on. You have to do your own taxes. Do you know how much it sucks having to do your own taxes? And this might just be me, but I really struggle to get any work done because I don't have a manager breathing down my neck. It's unfortunate that a lot of people, specifically very money motivated people, you know, the rise and grinders, tend to look down on people who are not self-employed or don't wish to be self-employed, despite the fact that working for other people has a very similar amount of benefits as working for yourself. But despite this, because people shit on 9 to 5 so much, a lot of people feel a real pressure to eventually be self-employed or start their own business. So before we get into the discourse surrounding the that girl trend, I tried to become that girl myself. I timed it and everything. So let me run you through my original that girl routine. So I was going to wake up at 6 a.m. Now, pretty quickly, this went completely down the drain. Now, I'm not necessarily a night owl because my schedule obviously bounces around because I'm self-employed. Sometimes I wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning. Other days I do not sleep until 2 because I'm working. So I decided to push the time I woke up to 8 a.m. Now, I do just want to make it very clear, I am very conscious of sounding like an out-of-touch YouTuber who simply cannot fathom waking up at 6 a.m.
And I just want to 100% clear up right now that I'm not a Tory.
Not that at all. Obviously, as I said earlier, my schedule does bounce around. But also, my boyfriend Lem, we all know Lem here, he does not get in from work till about 1:30 in the morning. So my sleep schedule is very similar to his. I have worked normal jobs before, I swear. Do I sound like a plant? So I was gonna jump in the shower at 8:10, and then after that, do my skincare routine. Skincare routine is very, very important. Every that girl routine I saw had some kind of 10-step skincare routine. I was planning on doing some yoga, but that idea went straight out the window because I hadn't actually exercised for about 5 years. But you know, I have started recently, sorry, going off script. I have actually started pole classes recently, and guys, it's so fun. I really, really recommend it. It's so hard, it's so difficult, but it's really, really fun exercise. If anyone was like wondering or like thinking about doing pole classes, this is your sign to do it. And then I was going to walk to the shops, get some ingredients for a delicious healthy breakfast, specifically an acai bowl. And then as I was eating breakfast, I was going to plan my day. Now, my original intentions were definitely to really throw myself into this. Like, I wanted to do a full that girl day. As you guys can tell, it didn't quite go to plan. The only real that girl thing I ended up doing was eating an acai bowl, and even then the frozen berries got stuck in my blender. Anyways, let me just show you guys how being that girl went for me. Roll the tape. Oh my god, jump scare, and look who's here. It's Lem! I'm not complaining about the way that I look. I'm not putting that negative energy on my YouTube channel, but you know when you haven't blow dried your hair properly and then your lashes need to be infilled as well. Family vlogging channel. I am doing my that girl morning routine tomorrow morning. Right now it is 20 to midnight and I've got to get up in like 6 hours. I'm very aware that because I make YouTube videos for a living, I am concerned about this video coming across as like really tone deaf. Like, you know, in the Ace Family, we're like working in a Starbucks for 12 hours and it's like that's just working a normal job. That's what normal people do. I'll see you guys at 6 in the morning. Might be 7, might be 8. Good morning. This video didn't quite go to plan. I'm not sure whether I'm going to keep the clips in, but it got to like 1 in the morning last night and I was like, I'm either not going to get up or I'm going to be absolutely exhausted. And I get the appeal of waking up at 6 in the morning and getting loads of things done, like literally before 8 o'clock. Like, it's very, very productive. And the whole point of that girl, from what I could tell, was to sort of adapt your routine to your lifestyle. So I was like, I'm not going to wake up at 6 in the morning and be absolutely exhausted when I have the options to just wake up a couple hours later. So I'm just gonna dry my eyelashes before I get on with my skincare routine. Bear with me just a second, girls. Now I'm gonna do my skincare routine, and the skincare routine seemed like vital in being that girl. Is this extra? Yes. This is, you're meant to keep it in the fridge. It's supposed to depuff your face. My face does feel sort of like nice and depuffed. And to be fair, I understand like the almost ritualism the self-care-ism. The next part of my skincare routine, I actually really like. I bought these like a week ago, and I think that they're so like, not even necessarily like good, like I don't think they do much, but they feel good and they make you feel more awake, and I think that's like an important part of skincare. They're these like little hydrogel under eye patches. They're like under eye masks. As I said earlier, I think there's sort of like a nice sort of self-caring like ritual sort of aspect to it that like feels really good. And I think, yeah, sure, a skincare routine might not be not necessarily, I do think skincare routines benefit your skin, but something like, I don't know, hydrogel under eye patches may not be doing like a ton for your skin, but I think if the whole process of like putting them on, keeping them on for like 5 minutes, if that makes you like feel good, then I think like, why not? It's 8:45, so I definitely am running behind. One thing I have been like consciously doing is not going on my phone loads. Like when I woke up this morning, I literally went on my phone for like, I think less than 5 minutes, if that. And then I'm gonna moisturize my face. I just use this simple moisturizer. Now that my skincare routine is all done and I'm feeling very, very refreshed, I can't lie. I'm gonna go upstairs, I'm gonna get changed, and then I'm gonna do yoga.
Few moments later.
I'm not doing yoga anymore. Oh, I am gonna go to the shops and I'm gonna get the ingredients for my breakfast, which is an acai bowl. I'm very excited, I'm not gonna lie. This is what I got from the shops. I got a bag of frozen mixed berries, a seed berry goji mix as a topping. I'm also gonna put some honey in there to sweeten it up. I ordered this online, but acai powder, and I got some apples. I'm gonna slice these up and put it on as a topping. All right, let's do this. Okay, so I've got all my ingredients in there. I've got my frozen berries, I've got a bit of juice in there as well, some acai powder and some honey, and I'm gonna blend it up. Even though mine does not look as aesthetically pleasing as the others, it does look fucking delicious, doesn't it? I have a newfound respect for people who make acai bowls, because mine, maybe it's my blender's shit or something, but mine, it wouldn't blend properly. I had to take out like a load of like the really big strawberries and fruit, and it was just so stressful. Also, I've got the lights on because the weather is fucking horrible today. How am I supposed to that girl in these conditions? And one thing I also bought, because I always see that girls talking about this, is green juice. It smells horrible. Oh, it's okay. I'd rather just have apple juice. So whilst I eat my acai bowl, what I see a lot of that girls doing is they will plan their day in a planner. And luckily, I already have one of those. I am a very, very big fan of planning days. I think it's a really good way to get things done. Okay, so I've written my list of things to do today. It's mostly just YouTube work and tidying up. Yeah, no, I guess that's it. I'm not going to take you guys along with me for the rest of my day. My thoughts on this, I'm actually going to cut back to the video to talk about it, because I'm going to be honest, I have some thoughts and feelings about it, and I did not really enjoy this experience. I do enjoy this acai bowl though. Cutting back to Jordan with makeup on. As you guys probably tell, it was a bit of a disaster. Okay, maybe disaster might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but it definitely didn't go to plan. I just really didn't enjoy it, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I didn't realize this until about a week after I filmed the video, that I was actually in a depressive episode. As I said at the beginning of this video, my mental health has been all over the place for the whole of the new year, to be honest. Can I even say new year? It's nearly April. So my heart just really wasn't in it, and I think that's probably a very big contributing factor as to why I didn't enjoy it and why I had such a negative experience, but I'm going to talk about it with you guys anyway. So as I said earlier, waking up at 6 AM, I ended up pushing it to 8 AM, which already, and again, maybe it's because I have really low self-esteem and imposter syndrome. God, I am outing all of my mental problems in today's video, but already it made me feel quite bad about myself, because I was like, how can I not wake up at 6 AM? Like, oh my God, this is pathetic. And like a bit of a failure because I decided to wake up at 8 AM instead of 6 AM. So I wake up, I had my shower, shower, I did my skincare routine, and one thing which I found very interesting was that the very elaborate skincare routine reminded me a lot of Cassie's skincare routine in Euphoria. You guys know the bit I'm talking about. Next on my list was yoga, which I couldn't be bothered to do, so that made me feel even more shit about myself. And at this point, I was also falling behind on my timings, which was making me feel even worse. And this isn't necessarily the fault of the That Girl routine. I am someone who does like a to-do list. I do like structure in my day, but also if there's timings, I'm just the type of person, it makes me even more stressed. And especially if I don't meet those timings, again, it makes me feel like a failure. But maybe I just have issues. I went to the shops, bought my ingredients for my acai bowl. It went a little bit tits up. It tasted really, really good. It tasted delicious. And as I was eating my half blended acai bowl, trying not to crack a tooth on the frozen berries, staring out at the grey landscape, which is the UK in February, I couldn't help but feel very deflated. And I do think that me being in a depressive episode probably contributed to this. And maybe I should have redone the routine a week later when I was feeling better. But oh well, we're here now. But I do also think my negative experience with trying to be that girl could maybe reflect some wider issues with the trend. I'm like, there must be something wrong with this trend if I didn't like it. When it comes to comparing yourself, hustle culture, the aesthetic often preceding the lifestyle, I think I'm using the right word. Despite that girl influencers stressing that the lifestyle is far more important than your pictures looking aesthetically pleasing. But let's get into it. Before getting into the potential problems of that girl, I do want to make it clear that I do think a majority of women who partake in this trend don't have any bad intentions. I can imagine a lot of women who like to partake in TikTok trends like that girl, as soon as they see a social commentary YouTuber has done a deep dive on it, they're like, oh god, this again. But I'm sorry, I find it interesting, okay? Gosh. And also, these trends don't just exist in a vacuum, and I find that girl specifically to be a very capitalism influenced trend. Number one, toxic productivity / hustle culture. Now, we all know what toxic productivity and hustle culture is. I do actually want to make an entire video about male influencers, you know, the rise and grind influencers. So if you guys want to see that, please leave a comment and let me know. Toxic productivity and hustle culture has been around for decades. It's definitely a symptom of late stage capitalism and neoliberalism, and it takes many forms. Those finance bros that are obsessed with Wolf of Wall Street and always post quotes about the grind over a black and white picture of a lion, that's hustle culture. Or women who will non-stop message you about an amazing business opportunity where you can make uncapped earnings from the comfort of your own home. Don't you want to be a boss babe? Although trying to be that girl may not be as in-your-face hustle culture as an MLM boss babe, being that girl still kind of gives me hustle culture vibes. That girl is about manifesting your own success. That girl naturally has her shit together. That girl wakes up at 6 a.m, works out, keeps her living space tidy, plans her day to a T so she can be as productive as possible. Girls and women who partake in this trend aren't just doing it for the sake of it. They want to be the best versions of themselves. And because we live in a society, I hate that term so much. Because we live in a society which is dominated by capitalism, being your best self lies a lot in your business and financial successes. And I have seen a couple of That Girl videos where the creators stress the importance of balance. You can't wake up at 6 a.m. every day. You can't work out every day. You can't eat raw, healthy food every day. You can't work all day every day. It's okay to have one day where you drink loads and you're hungover, or it's okay to have a day where you feel really shit so you lie in bed. But I do think unintentionally surrounding yourself with that girl content can really make you put your self-value in how successful you are, how much money you're making, how much you're working, how productive you're being. So if you're just having one of those weeks where you are feeling quite demotivated and not getting a lot of work done, if you're constantly consuming that girl content where everyone around you is doing amazingly and is working so hard and is is being super productive, is making loads of money, that's gonna make you feel shit about yourself. You feel like everyone around you is being productive and using their time wisely apart from you. Also, the whole manifesting your own success, although I believe it to be well intentioned, it just oversimplifies the complexities of life, which is exactly what hustle culture does intentionally. Hustle culture purposefully distracts attention away from class dynamics and disparity and preaches that if you work hard enough, you will be successful. The harder you work, the more successful you be. Hustle culture is very Margaret Thatcher, it's very Ronald Reagan. Margaret Thatcher was the original rise and grinder. And I feel like so much that girl content and that girl routines focus on manifesting your own success. And although I believe this to be unintentional, I do feel like it subtly reinforces the idea that success boils down to how hard you work rather than the socio-economic conditions you were born in or currently live in. Being that girl really is just girl boss feminism repackaged and repurposed for a Gen Z audience. I have made a video about girl boss feminism on my channel before. It's quite old, it's like over a year old. I can't guarantee that it will be super good, but I'll link it down below anyway if you guys want to check it out. Number 2, the aesthetic preceding the lifestyle. As I've mentioned many times in this video, a lot of women who make that girl content often emphasize that the lifestyle is far more important than the aesthetic aspects of the trend. For example, eating a healthy breakfast which is nutritious and you enjoy it is far more important than making an aesthetically pleasing breakfast just for the sake of an Instagram picture which you don't even like that much. And a lot of that girl content creators stress that being that girl looks different for everyone, that you can change and adapt it to however you like. Yet despite this, a lot of that girl content tends to look the same. They all wake up at 6 a.m, they tidy their perfectly decorated bedrooms, they do their 10-step skincare routine with luxurious products, they eat similar foods, acai bowls, avocado on toast, salad, they all drink green juice and lemon water in those big jars. They work out in their Lululemon workout gear. They use all the same brand gratitude journals. Despite the emphasis that anyone can be that girl, everything kind of looks the same. And this is reflected in that girl content, whether it's on TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram. It's all very aesthetically pleasing. And although creating that girl content is not what that girl is about, a lot of people who are trying to be that girl make that girl content. And there's many reasons for this. If they're an aspiring influencer, that girl content is really popular right now and was even more popular 6 months ago. And not only that, but posting on social media can be very motivating for a lot of people. Not only does it motivate themselves, but it also motivates other people as well. And also another way it can motivate you is that if you are someone who likes to post that girl content, if you don't follow your that girl routine, then you're not going to have anything to post. So it almost forces you to follow your that girl routine. And I think unfortunately when someone tries to follow a that girl routine and in turn tries to make that girl content and it doesn't look like all of the popular posts and videos, it can be quite demotivating. And also all of the popular posts I saw, especially on Pinterest, were conventionally attractive, thin, able-bodied white women. And not only that, but this trend feels very middle class to me. Having a flexible schedule, having loads of time to make an aesthetically pleasing breakfast, having a beautiful living space, working out in Lululemon clothing, having a 10-step skincare routine with luxurious products. All of this stuff in of itself, even just having the time to do this stuff, is a privilege. And because the aesthetic aspects of the trend is what made that girl so popular in the first place, and I do think that a lot of people's intentions with trying to be that girl are good, it can just end up coming across as quite materialistic and shallow. To be like all of the other creators who are making that girl content, you have to have an aesthetically pleasing living space, you have to have really pretty plates and mugs to serve your food and drinks in. When I was trying to be that girl, I even bought a robe. I bought a whole new robe and a face mask for it. And although the trend doesn't tell you that you need any of these things, like most Pinterest and TikTok trends, it makes you want to buy stuff and consume. And if you can't afford all this stuff, it could possibly make you feel quite bad. And the last thing I'm going to be talking about is that girl really is just another woman's health and wellness trend repackaged and repurposed for Gen Z, which will probably end up going out of style. As I'm making this video, the indie sleaze trend is being spoken about on TikTok and possibly might come back into trend, which is basically the opposite of the clean girl aesthetic and trying to be that girl. I was a teenager when indie sleaze was in its peak, so I'm beginning to feel old. The messiness of indie sleaze possibly signifies that being that girl is on its way out. It's a lifestyle which strives for perfection in all aspects of your life, whether it's your work life, your finances, your skincare routine, your living space, your clothes, your workout routine, what you eat. That girl naturally has her shit together, so you have to make it look effortless. You can't make it look like you're trying too hard. There doesn't seem to be a lot of room for fun or to be lazy or to be depressed, or to have a bloody hangover. Being that girl is about manifesting your own success. And someone who wants to be successful can't waste their time drinking or ordering takeaways, God forbid. It's yet again another wellness/girl boss trend which is directed at women to buy stuff and to work. That's literally it. And something which is very worth noting that Modern Girls spoke about in their video was that the obsession with homemade healthy food, specifically raw food, which is often vegan, is eerily similar to the raw veganism trend preached by vegan YouTubers like Freely the Banana Girl. But yes, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully I'll be back with more consistent uploads. Yay! I will see you guys soon for another video. Bye!